dating, you start doing different things, and you try to win people over to you, or a person to you. And one of the things that we discover in relationships is that we want something out of it. In all of our relationships, we want to receive something out of our relationships, for right or for wrong. Whether it's we don't want to be lonely, so we want someone to be present with us, or we want, some of us are anxious and we want someone who's not, so we want some stability from somebody. Or ladies, sometimes you're just trying to think, how do I get my husband to clean up after himself? I just want cleanliness to happen. And careful, don't laugh too much, ladies, because you want that to happen. And when these benefits, these mutual benefits, aren't happening, then there begins to be a strain on the relationship, doesn't there? I mean, whenever relationships get sour or ends, it ends because I'm upset because so-and-so isn't doing whatever it is. Or they are doing what I don't want them to be doing, right? It's because the benefits have grown cold. And so we try to figure out in a relationship how to make sure that these benefits are taking place, don't we? And ladies would love guys to be cleaning up the house, or they would love for guys to be more romantic, or bring flowers, or whatever. And guys, all we care about is one thing. We just want her to spend time with us. That's all. Right? That's all that guys want. They just want quality time. They don't want anything else than that. Just sitting here talking. That's it. But just want quality time. Right? Am I right on that? No, I heard someone say no. Guys, they have a benefit that they want in a relationship. And you know what's interesting, guys? And this will hold true for you ladies, too, that are trying to get, whether it's romance or cleanliness or whatever it is. There are all kinds of books out there, and videos, and instructions, and trainings on how to get the most out of your relationship, right? How can I get that guy to shape up? How can I get her to spend some quality time with me? And then they begin to jump through all the hoops, don't we? Haven't you done that before? You've jumped through all the right hoops of trying to make sure that you get out of a relationship what we want to get out of it. Have you ever jumped through all the hoops and then nothing? Nothing. Like, ladies, have you ever spent quality time with your husband whenever he wanted to spend quality time with you? Ladies, have you ever just been sweet and understanding and respectful, and you just thought he was amazing in everything that you did and said? And then the next day, you walked through the house and you saw the mess was still left all around. And you're thinking, why did I do all that stuff? He's not going to clean up after himself. And guys, same thing. You're romantic, you bought flowers, you were nice, you cleaned up, you did all the right things, and still no quality time. And we're frustrated sometimes in our relationships, aren't we? Because it's supposed to be mutually beneficial, right? And I think that sometimes we feel that strain in our relationship with the Lord. Where I thought that if I prayed and obeyed and did different things, then I would receive certain benefits from Him. And though we feel like it's not really right to complain, it's not really right because we know He went to the cross for us, right? He did so much for us. How dare I complain about what I'm not receiving now? But deep down in our hearts, there are times that we feel like God is not being beneficial to me. I'm going through this valley. I'm hurting. My body's breaking down. I'm lacking on resources. Where is God in the midst of this? And the reason why we're frustrated is because we naturally, instinctively believe that relationships are mutually beneficial. And so we're looking at God and asking, where's the benefit? Some of you know relatives that either are or are not serving God, and you hear them saying, what's the benefit of following the Lord? And you know what's sad? When have you ever walked into a dating relationship and said, I would like to start dating you, But first I need to find out what you're going to do for me. I'd like to see how I'm going to gain in this whole thing before we start going on our first date, all right? I want to see how you're going to treat me. I want to see if I'm going to get the support I'd like and the encouragement I like and the comfort I'd like and quality time in this relationship. And do you think that's going to go well? No. What do we do first in the relationship? We try to give them all the benefits that we can to try to lure them into the relationship. And I wonder, when we get frustrated with God, because again, that's when the relationship breaks down, when the benefits are not flowing mutually, I wonder when we were bringing benefits to the table for God. If the tables were turned when we're complaining that God's not doing whatever it is He's not doing, I wonder what benefits we bring to the table. Amen. Or are we just asking God to keep delivering handouts without us ever bringing anything? And we might say, well, what can I bring to God? He has everything, right? Don't you hate on... Have you ever had someone on your Christmas list you had to buy for and you think they have everything they want? I don't know what to buy for them, And God might be that kind of same scenario where, well, what am I supposed to get for Him? It's not like I have the power or the ability to give Him anything that He doesn't have. And yet there is something that we have that He would like to get from us. And if we learn how to do certain things, because wouldn't you like to get a response from God that you'd like to get? Wouldn't you love for Him to show up in power and in His glorious presence and feel uplifted? Wouldn't you love to have this peace that just comes rushing in and surpasses all understanding when you're feeling anxious and at your wit's end? Wouldn't you love to have this power begin to be demonstrated in your life, that you are now capable in doing the things that you feel that you want to, should be doing? Wouldn't you love that to start to happen in our lives? Well, the question is, what am I doing in this relationship with God? Am I just standing here asking, give me, give me, give me? Or am I bringing benefits also to this relationship? So what is it that I should be bringing to the table? Well, first, He wants us to pursue His face. And in Nehemiah, we see these things happen. We see them fasting in verse 1. We see them praying, verse 4, they cried out to the Lord. We see them worshiping, verse 5, stand up and bless the Lord. And we see them being dedicated to Him. You are the Lord, you alone. He wants us to seek His face. Not just His hand. Because in a relationship, ladies, you can tell when your husband's doing all these nice things with ulterior motives. And that's the funny thing. And guys sometimes can tell when you ladies are doing all these things just to get you to do other things. We can tell, can't we, when someone's not actually into us, but they're into getting something from us. And we need to know, are we actually seeking God because we want Him? Or because we want Him to give us something? How many of us are actually desiring Jesus and not just the benefits that He might bring to us? And so the question is, you find yourself, or we find ourselves frustrated in this relationship with God because it doesn't feel mutually beneficial. And the question is, are you praying? Are we spending time praying and spending time before Him? Because I'm telling you, guys, just marital advice, if you go to your wife and say, you've not been with her all day, you've not given her any attention, you've not been responsive or caring or concerned or anything, and you've been kind of a filthy slob, and you go and you say, hey, I love you, you're so beautiful. That's not going to get you anywhere if you just give her like that just 5-minute snippet of, and ladies, if you just give a peck on the cheek and say, hey, I love you, wink, wink, and you think He's going to make your house immaculate because of that, that's not going to happen. But we do this kind of thing with God all the time. Hey, God, I put K-Love on the radio when I was driving, so. Or, Lord, I did go to church this week, so there is that. And I did recite the Lord's Prayer this morning, or I did read you my list. I mean, could you imagine if every time you get together with the people you care about, what your conversation was is, okay, let me get on my list here real quick. I'd like for you to give me this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And oh, by the way, can you give some stuff to those people too? And we read our list. Could you imagine the kind of relationship we would have with people? But we treat God like that all the time. We are only seeking Him when we need something to happen. And then we wonder, where is God in the midst of all of these things? We need to seek Him, pray, and demonstrate our passion for Him by fasting. And we need to worship Him. We need to sing songs of praise. Did you know that you don't need to sing songs to worship Him necessarily? We can just express our love to Him. We can just say why we love Him and how we delight in Him and give glory to His name, even without the music. We don't need someone singing for us to do that. And we need, I don't know if you've ever experienced that, where you just begin to well up with gratitude before God and affection for Him, and you begin to express that. And if we have not or are not experiencing that, then I wonder if we truly can look up at God and say, this isn't fair. This relationship dynamic, Lord, isn't fair. And a dedication to Him. That because, I don't know if you noticed, but people were coming up for prayer and different people were walking by, and I gave different gestures to them as they walked by me. And if you went that way, I didn't come running over to you to hug you because I didn't care about you. It's just because you're all the way over there. I got to be careful with that because sometimes people get upset. But anyway, I'd pat people on the shoulder, give one person a hug, and then there was this one really beautiful woman who walked back towards the end there, and I gave her a very, very full-on hug. And that person gave me a peck on the cheek, and you guys aren't all getting that same kind of hug. Because there's a relationship dynamic between that beautiful woman back there and me that involves dedication. I have a dedication to her more so than I do to other people because of the dynamic of the relationship. And she does to me. And Jesus is supposed to be first. Above our close friend, above our boss at work, above our government, above the people that are in our lives, Jesus is supposed to be first. And yet, sometimes, what kind of response is He getting from us? Are we truly dedicated to Him? Or are we just wondering when He's going to show up and take care of everything? This relationship is supposed to be mutually beneficial. And if we're wondering, why isn't He doing what I'm expecting Him to do, then maybe we should start doing what He expects from us. Amen. To love Him, to put Him first, to worship Him, to pray and seek His face, and to fast, to be dedicated to Him.